4Z Audio is keep on expanding their lineup by offering different type of products. Hello everyone, welcome to Tabama Hi-Fi Review channel. Today I would like to share my long-term experience of using newly released 4Z Audio S3 streamer streaming transport with Amlogic A113X chip inside SoC using AKM4493 SEQ. It also has volume control, gain stage, and pre-stage all included in one package. It has app system that you can control this 4Z S3. So I've been using this S3 in my system for quite a while. Everything works out, but it's not room ready yet. Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, everything working flawlessly except a little bit of sluggishness in UPnP playback in my system when I'm using my Sony NAS, which is connected via or Ethernet cables, not even Wi-Fi. Another thing that I like to mention is this 4Z Audio S3 come with wall watt power supply. So that wall watt power supply can be a little sensitive depending on power distribution that you use, right? In my streaming setup, I'm using Belkin power distributor. When I'm using with this S3 and connected to top-end Mini 300 Class D amp and using XLR cable, that noise is incredibly loud. So that is, I was wondering, oh, what's wrong with this unit or something wrong with the amp? Turns out, as soon as I change the wall watt connection to directly to the wall AC power outlet, then that noise is gone. Then I was like, oh, okay, this is sensitive to power distribution component that I was using. When I started using S3 in my main system, I directly connected to Vinshine Audio Thai-Hand power distributor with reserve power in there, so it sounded very nice and there is no issue at all. I was using Gusted Audio R262 R2R deck, using it with my Acuface E4000 or MusicShare X30 tube amps and that combination. When I'm using it as a streaming transport with that R262, it sounded beautifully streaming Spotify or Tidal. And then I switch it over to internet direct output using analog output out of this S3. ASD Silver RCA cable to this X30, ASD Silver XLR balance cable to my Acuface E4000, and I was going back and forth, swapping out the speaker wires, and it sounded very nice in that combination, especially with this tube integrated amp MusicShare X30. When I switch it over to Acuface E4000, it totally revealed actual sound signature. As always, tubes will always make sound dramatic and musical. So as soon as I started using Acuface E4000 4Z S3 standalone direct XLR connection, I started to want more extension in upper range of frequencies as well as separation. That is totally understandable. I'm not expecting to have incredible sound quality out of analog stage direct output. By the way, I also tried with Mini 300 Class D amp from Top-End, using this one as a pre-DAC and streamer all-in-one setup, and it sounded very nice using it with JBL L100 Classic 75th in that setup. Using it with the Acuface E4000, I end up switching direct optical output to Musician Audio Pegasus 3 optical input and putting the XLR cable back into the R2R tag, and sound is totally wonderful. So as far as the streaming capability and streaming transport for internet streaming like Spotify or Tidal, it works great. Sound is great and very good component that you can have for all-in-one that you can use, especially if you're gonna pair with 4Z Class D amps, and that is gonna be very good sounding setup that you're gonna have. So I end up change the volume to fixed. I only use optical output out of this 4Z Audio S3 streamer. Another feature that lack in this 4Z S3 is it doesn't have coaxial output, which I think is much needed and must have feature for any type of streaming transports, right? That is the one thing that's missing. Although it has subwoofer out, pre out, XLR out, balance out, and everything that available. So subwoofer out works great when I pair it with my subwoofer and using that internal built-in pre-gain stage, and it sounded nice with Topping Mini 300 or SMSR GAN amp that I try with. Capability of this S3 is only limited by operation system based on Linux. It has highly capable SoC, good sounding DAC built in there. All they have to do is improve the operation system. Here's the 4Z Audio app. I was recording sound samples, so these graphics and album art, it takes a while to display. So let me go back to S3, and there is Spotify, and Roon is not ready yet, and I don't use Google Cast or AirPlay, by the way. And HDMI in, I tried it. Optical in, I tried it when I was using as a standalone. I don't use microphone, so I mute it. Currently, I'm using RCA and XLR out, XLR cable directly to E4000 to record sound sample for this video. So that's what you're gonna hear. That is the current setting. The UPnB playback, it's okay, right? It's not gonna be totally state-of-the-art game-changing UPnB playback features that it can deliver. EQ, I don't use it at all, but it's there if you need it. Setting, these are all the settings. So these are pretty much all the settings that you can use. Only slight downside is it takes a while to get all the album and all the playlist information to be loaded, right? So let's say if I go to, let's say, favorite, my favorite, so that is then, so these are all the lists that I have in there. There is no problem if I have like 50 tracks or playlist. Totally, it can play and no problem. Changing the track or everything works great for 50 tracks or playlist. But when I change to these folders, so it's gonna take a while because I have almost 1.6 terabytes of files in there. Then you will see it might crash, right? So if I scroll quickly, it might crash out time to time. So now in alphabetically going, now it's stuck at Eagles. Now it's gonna crash out. There you go. There you go. That's the issue that I was having. A113X is highly capable ARM Cortex architecture that they are using. That very same SoC is also featured in VM Pro. So processing power, I don't think is the problem. It's the issue with the Linux, custom Linux system that they have on this S3, right? When I was streaming UPnB playback, it has no problem streaming DSD files up to 5.6. So all they have to do is improve the operation system because it takes a while to load my UPnB playback folders and playlists. If I have big setup like 1 point something terabyte or play music files in there, it takes a while. because it not only takes a while, it crashes out. That's the issue, right? I can't keep on scrolling, so it's kind of slow. So that's where they need to make improvements. EQ function work as it should and noticeable when you make changes. In my main system, I mostly use this S3 as a digital streaming transport, streaming Spotify or Tidal using optical output out of this S3 to Pegasus 3, and it sounds very, very good. So if you compare to other streaming transport and DAC combination, as of right now, regardless of the price point, capability wise, the kind of in level of V and Pro kind of capability, or even the software system is not quite there yet. For the sound quality, it's always subjective, and most of the people probably they will pair with 4Z Class D amps or those entry-level affordable Class D amps in general. In that case, this forgiving sound signature of the standalone all-in-one unit using analog out of this S3 and those Class D amp combination should give you good sound quality for the price and performance that you can get. But $260 for this component is not quite there yet as far as a software system goes, right? Sound quality, I have no complaint there at all. So price to performance and feature set and hardware and everything combined, they started great in my opinion. True highlight of this 4Z S3 in my system is online streaming. AKM 4493 SEQ velvety sound signature is truly enjoyable to listen. Sound staging, it may not be as wide as what I'm used to be, but it's pretty good and it has nice depth to it. Overall resolution of sound reproduction, if I'm using standalone unit with analog output out of this S3, it has good resolution that it can deliver. It's not gonna be like totally revealing sound. It has good forgiveness and musicality that we can enjoy listening to it for a long section. So those are the great benefits of this 4Z S3. Feature set, hardware, and everything is very good standard. Only they have to keep on improving their software. If they can improve this 4Z S3 as they promise in the future with new software and everything that they're gonna upgrade, so it's gonna be getting to the level of VM Ultra kind of capabilities like room correction and PEQ and all those features. As of right now in my current OS and this firmware, I only have standard EQ. So those are my experience of using this 4Z S3 as a streaming transfer as well as pre-DAC streamer in different systems. Thank you for watching. Happy listening.
Come into my solitude, though I weary be. Come into my tenderness. Dream along with me. Listen to the whispers sing. Listen to the singer shout. Come into my solitude. Be my big mouth. Thoughts unspoken, thoughts unsaid. Lies of hearth and home. Children broken on the bed and left to lie alone. Things you talk around, scum you choke on down. Come into my solitude, step on sacred ground. We were speaking of values and violence, breaking silence. Father, son, the silence. Coming to my solitude, welcome to the wheel. Coming to this wonderland of wounds that will not heal. Walls that do not speak, steps that do not sound. Come into my solitude.